Hi, my name is Jill, and I'm in the youth ministry program at Ambrose. I'm 22 years old. I'm from Brooks, Alberta. My life wasn't always the way that it is now. It wasn't always filled with the deep joy that I have through Jesus. God's presence radically brought me and my weary soul back to life and transformed me into the woman I am today. I went through the motions my whole life of growing up in a Christian home and going to church and going to youth group and even playing on worship teams and stuff, and I just still couldn't really connect with God or feel His presence. By the end of grade 6, I had developed a lot of depression and just struggled a lot with self-worth and knowing who I was, and just didn't really feel like I had a place in the world. And I developed an eating disorder, and in high school I started using drugs and going to lots of parties and stuff, and I just felt really, really lost and really numb, and I was just looking for anything to make me feel good or make me feel like I was worth something, even for a little while. Yeah, the party just kind of ran out pretty quick. It got just really dangerous and not fun anymore, and I just felt even more lost than I had before I started. And by the end of grade 12, I just hit rock bottom and I didn't know where to go. I had been in the hospital twice and had quit a rehab program and just didn't really feel like I had any hope left. All I knew to do was just to pray, and I did, and God just gave me a way out of everything. I still wasn't really convinced though, and I still just had a lot of sadness inside and just still felt pretty empty. And the time when it really changed was when I got to go on my first mission trip, and I saw all these kids that had literally nothing, but all of these kids had more joy than I did. And I just really realized that it was because they were living a life knowing who Jesus was and knowing that Jesus loved them. I got home and I just decided, okay, God, I surrender to you. I'm yours. Whatever you have for me, I want it. And I just chose to give up everything. And yeah, He just freed me from every drug addiction that I felt and just all the pain and just the self-hate that I had. The stuff with eating disorders took a lot longer to heal and took a lot longer for me to feel better, just emotionally and spiritually, and to just see myself as the daughter of God and see myself as made in His image. But I think just through the process, God taught me so much, and He showed me so much about His heart for me and just who He's made me to be. And I'm so thankful that He did it in a process. And He gave me so much joy and so much freedom in that. And I started just writing songs that were about His goodness and about the joy that came from Him. And I didn't even understand fully where they were coming from or how I was feeling this, but I was just loving it and just wanted more of it. And yeah, now I get to work at my church as a youth leader and as a worship leader, and it's so different than when I was younger because it's real, and I can feel God's love and I can feel the joy that comes from Him. Even in hard times, I feel His joy, and it's not anything out of my strength, but it's all out of who He is and me just being in His presence. And it's amazing to see all these kids go through stuff that I went through as well and be able to tell them that it gets better and to just be able to understand what they're going through. And I'm so thankful that God just makes beauty from ashes and that He just turns everything around. Joy is so much different than happiness, because happiness is just so set in circumstances, but joy just comes from knowing who Jesus is and knowing that God has a plan for you and that you can trust in that plan no matter what. It makes me so happy to be able to work with youth and see them just go through stuff that I've gone through, and to be able to say to them, honestly, it gets better. I know, because Jesus saves and Jesus heals every wound and brings you joy. It's Romans 5, verses 3-5. And it talked about joy even in your sufferings, and how your suffering produces character, and character produces hope, and hope in Jesus can't be lost.